Hello, this is Brenda Green, and I'd like to welcome you to Living in the Go. If you like this video, then please hit subscribe, like it, share it. I want everyone to know about it because, again, we are starting a movement here. So over the last few years, I've been talking to a lot of people about the subject of budgeting. It seems to come up over and over again. And what it tells me is that people don't necessarily know how to budget. They're afraid of it. It's a dirty word to them, or they feel like it's too restrictive. So I want to change the narrative on budgeting and help you feel better about it and more comfortable when you're making a budget. So let's get into it. The topics I want to cover today are how to create a realistic budget and how to still have fun. So if we look at realistic budgeting, there could be a simple formula for that. And I'll tell you something that changed my life. I read this book by Elizabeth Warren. She's a senator here in the United States for the state of Massachusetts, and she's actually running for president. But decades ago, before she got into office, she wrote this book with her daughter, and it's called All Your Worth. It focuses on having a money plan. I love the book because it helped me reshape how I looked at my own money planning. The simple rule that she has, the 50-20-30 rule, is easy to follow, and it also allows for flexibility. So when you look at this chart, 50% goes to essentials. So that would be how much you pay for your housing, your mortgage, utilities, groceries, and your transportation. It should not go beyond 50% of your take-home pay. The next category is 20% of savings. And savings in retirement, again for your future and for emergency funds, goes in that category. But if you have credit card debt, that also comes out of that category, which means that you're robbing yourself of your future if you have credit card debt. So there's another incentive to try to get rid of as much debt as you can. The last category is lifestyle choices. So that's everything else. So after the essentials are done, your savings, then money that's left over should be about 30% of your income, and that could be spent on whatever you want. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. So now when you're doing your budget, you want to make sure that you understand how much money is actually coming in. So I'm talking about your after-tax dollars. So if you make, let's say, $2,000 a month, but you bring home $1,800, that's what you're working with. So keep that in mind as the after-tax dollars. You should start tracking your regular expenses. Do that for 2 months to see how much that really is, and that again goes into your essentials. The next thing you should track are your variable expenses. Try to do that for about 2 months because variable means that it changes from time to time, whether it's the gas that you buy, going out to dinner, buying clothing, gasoline, whatever. But track that for at least 2 months. You could take less time to do it, but you get a better picture if you track it for 2 months. You don't need any fancy software to do this because you could take a pen and pencil, and piece of paper, jot everything down, add it up, and you have your money file. Now, if you go to the ATM 3 or 4 times a week, you're taking out cash, you don't know where that money's going. So I want you to write that down as well. So if you take $40 out the ATM today because you're going to go buy gas with it, write that down in your little notepad as well. So now when you're making a budget, after you've added up your total income and your total expenses, you will see where everything goes. And these are the places where you can trim the fat or add things to them. So these are just a few examples of what you can put into your budget. So I mentioned your home expenses, entertainment, food, healthcare, transportation, insurance, that could be medical insurance, life insurance, clothing, gifts. If you have a pet, their food, veterinary bills, your taxes, education, personal business. So these are just a few examples of what could go into your budget. There may be other things that you have, and that's okay too. Now, I did mention that 30% lifestyle choice, everything else. And what I'm saying with this is that if you take your income and you measure it out the way you should, so you have 50% on the essentials, 20% towards the savings, that leaves you 30% of your income to do whatever you want. And there are no restrictions for that. Whatever you want to spend it on, that's perfectly fine because you're doing everything else right. So if you want to go get a manicure, pedicure, that's good. Cable, because cable, believe it or not, is not a need, it's a want. Upgrades on your phone service, Starbucks, birthday presents, gym memberships, after school activities, all of those things, those are lifestyle choices. And again, no judgment. That 30% you can spend it on whatever you want. Have fun, enjoy. Now, as always, I do have my beliefs, and so I'm going to share a few of those with you. If you have a $500 emergency and you have to use a credit card or call a family member, then you have a bigger problem than the emergency. That means you don't have any money saved, and $500 could pretty much wipe you out. Start small. Do something about that. When I say start small, I mean small. If you have to get a coin jar and put it up on the counter and throw your change in it, then do that. And then empty it out every month and put that into your bank account. Believe it or not, I still keep a coin jar. I actually have a piggy bank. And I put change in there, and at the end of the month, I cash that in, and that's my entertainment money for the month. I'll go to the movies or whatever I want to do with it. But it really does work. And that's money that you can start putting into the emergency fund as well. We prioritize what we want, but not what we need. And what I mean by that is that people will find a way to pay for stuff if they really want it. You see people going to concerts, buying really expensive shoes and things. And you were like, how can they do that when they always crying broke? They don't have any money. Because people prioritize what they want. So now it's time to prioritize you and your life and your family and your income and making sure that you have everything that you need. That's most important. Track what you spend so you know where you are. I use Mint.com. I recommend it to everybody I know because I can see everything that I have all on one page. I can look at it at the beginning of the day and I'm good. I don't need to keep looking at everything, every account, because it's all there for me. It makes it easier for me. So use it. So I'd like to thank you so much for your time and your attention. If you enjoyed this presentation, then hit subscribe and share it with your friends. Have a fabulous day, and I'll talk with you next time.